life expectancy in the United States is as the shortest it's been for a couple of decades. Is that because our modern diet is killing us, because of environmental factors? What is it that is decreasing life expectancy? You've already given us a sort of a bit of an understanding that the causes of fatality were more environmental, traumatic, disease-oriented historically. Why is there this incremental and sudden decline in life expectancy?
The answer is actually in the numbers, which is it is the increase in the deaths of despair. So it is not an increase in cardiovascular disease, cancer, diabetes, or dementia. It is the increase in suicide, overdoses, and alcohol-related deaths.
Hey guys, welcome back to Ferrigno Freedom Channel. I'm Dante Ferrigno, and I'm glad you're here. I want to talk to you a little bit today about the clips that you just saw at the beginning of this video, because I saw this video posted 12 days ago on Russell Brand's YouTube channel. And when I heard Dr. Attia, who I've listened to before, and though he doesn't agree necessarily with carnivore as being the solution, he's right about a lot of things, and I'm hoping that he's going to wake up to some real truths about carnivore living, especially through videos like this and other videos out there that have shown so much progress for so many people on a carnivore way of eating. And one of the things that I have noticed when I talk to people about their experience on lion diet and carnivore way of eating in general is that they find that they lose a lot of their anxiety and their depressive tendencies, and as a result are able to kick other things like alcohol, marijuana, other drugs, because they realized that they were searching for solutions where there were no solutions. But I also equate what we eat to being just as much as one of these drugs as anything else, because so many people wind up eating foods for comfort reasons. I mean, there's a reason why we call it comfort food. So when we sit down to eat a bowl of ice cream, or we want to have a piece of cake or candy, or even having things like pasta and other fancy dishes that make us feel good, that we feel like we're celebrating in life. The problem is so many of these foods have been destroyed by things like all of the ingredients that go into processed foods. Everything from citric acid, which, by the way, manufactured citric acid is one of the worst things that you can put in your body, which is what citric acid is anytime you read it on a label, for causing inflammation in the human body. And I have an entire video talking about manufactured citric acid. You can look up those videos on my channel. There are so many things that are in the food that have a negative effect. It's like one thing after another. It's like reading the side effects of various medications and you see, wow, it has all these possible side effects. That sounds pretty bad. Well, when you look up a lot of these ingredients that are in our food, they all have side effects as well. Some of them might cause digestive issues. Some of them might cause difficulty going to the bathroom. There's a number of things that they cause. Inflammation being probably the biggest one. Seed oils are terrible for inflammation. Sugar is horrible for our bodies in that sucrose, what you hear the type of sugar you should think of when you think of table sugar, is a mixture of fructose and glucose that comes from sugarcane. And then there's all the other types of sugar out there that also affect our body in such a way that we're overproducing insulin, we're storing more fat, and we're actually making ourselves, as a lot of recent studies are showing, we're making ourselves more ripe for things like cancer to take hold in our bodies. So these things have got to be eliminated from our lives if we want to be able to have that healthy lifestyle. But those things are also what are causing us to exacerbate the problems that we have, because I say that these foods are basically the gateway drug to a lot of other things that we use to supplement the pain and suffering we might be having. You know, my diet started in 2021, right after the wonderful year we had in 2020. And as many of you can probably relate, you can imagine I was going through it. A lot of us were going through it. And being the administrator at a retirement home like I was seeing the effects on our elderly population, and it was breaking my heart. We were struggling with finances, which wasn't helped by the situation in 2020 any. And we're all feeling it with inflation and other things that are going on in the market right now. It's just what we've all been dealing with is very similar, and it's all coming from a lot of top-down pressure for us to do certain things that don't appear to have a whole lot of benefit for us. But one thing I know does have a lot of benefit is changing the way you eat, because it cleared up my anxiety, it cleared up my depression, it helped me to be able to take life as it comes. And even though the pressure seems to keep building on the outside, I find it much easier now to not let that external pressure become internal stress, not only because of my diet, but also because of my spiritual approach to life. And I think that's important for all of us. And if what we're eating is affecting our mental health and our mental capability and leading us to do things that are harmful to ourselves, then it seems to me that that's be one of the first places we look, as it's one of the easiest things we can do to change things for ourselves. Then I saw another video that Russell Brand shared today called "Why Is This Happening Now?" And he was dealing with some of the same issues, in that we're seeing a rise in deaths that seem to be attributable to despair. Here's a few clips from that video. And by the way, I have the link for both of these videos in the description if you'd like to see the entire thing.
Life expectancy for the average American has dropped for the second year in a row. It's now 76 years. While life expectancy fell around the world in 2020 because of COVID, other countries have rebounded in 2021. But the United States continued its decline, hitting the lowest point in nearly 2 decades.
Our problems really began back in the 1990s. Life expectancy has been increasing in all industrialized countries, but starting then, the pace of increase in the United States began to fall off. And then after 2010, it just stopped increasing altogether and plateaued.
What are the factors in that? Why is that happening?
Here's some of my guesses before the expert answers. Terrible diet, terrible lifestyle, massive despair, big agriculture, big food, bad media, pumping us full of bad information. People being told that it's right-wing or somehow fascistic to exercise, not eating local food, eating heavily processed food, living a life where you have no connection to meaning or purpose. Take it away, Doc.
Well, it's being driven by an increase in death rates in young and middle-aged adults, 25 to 64.
Not to mention that things get so desperate that people are ending their own lives.
And most of those relate to the problems of drug overdoses, suicides, alcohol-related causes. These are sometimes called deaths of despair.
The reason people drink a lot and take drugs is they don't feel good inside and they're trying to amend it. There may be complex genetic and hereditary factors that I'm not experienced enough to understand. But broadly speaking, if society is bereft of meaning and tells you there's sort of little or no point to being alive, I think you see a steady rise in these kind of deaths. I bet if they break this down further, it's increasing in men faster than women. That's one guess I'd be willing to make based on just sort of social trends I've observed and the groups that I belong to that deal in these things. And the remedy for it is going to be difficult to achieve because it's going to involve empowering people to run their own lives. It's going to involve investing everyday life with meaning, purpose, and connection.
But also cardiometabolic diseases like diabetes and other conditions caused by obesity.
Eat this food, take this drug, take that drug to mitigate the effects of that drug and the side effects of that drug.
This upward trend is the result of 4 causes: suicides, homicides, drug overdoses, and car accidents, mainly in young people 10 to 19 years old.
These are not organic problems. They seem preventable. It sounds like this is not a question about health care in the traditional sense, the thinking about going to the doctor, going to a hospital.
Well, health is about more than health care.
Oh, really? Like health could be eating well, getting outside, exercising, your spiritual state, your wellness, your sense of meaning and purpose, your very essence and your spirit. And why are young people, children and teenagers dying? Oh, it's basically because of these systems that we're constantly critiquing. Should we do something about it? Obviously.
Dr. Stephen Wolf from Virginia Commonwealth University, thank you very much.
Thank you.
What I believe is that the solution is almost the opposite to what they're suggesting. Live healthy, get outside, breathe well, eat well, spend time in face-to-face communication with other people. Be cynical and circumspect about all the information that's given to you by mainstream media. Demand information. Demand as much freedom as possible and as much meaning. Live lives of personal sacrifice driven by purpose.
Russell mentioned how it's going to take empowering people to take control of their lives. And that's the kind of thing I talk about every day on my channel here with you, is that you've got to take control of your health. You've got to be the one who's in charge of what you're doing to make your health better or worse, because the systems that we live in right now are not functioning the way that they are supposed to function to do that. And we know what those interests are that are leading us that way. He mentioned it in the video here. He talked about big food and big pharma. And those are the organizations that are leading our medical system down the wrong path because they're focusing on medicine. They want to prescribe something. They want to be able to try to get you on something that they can continue to keep you on and keep the money rolling in. And unfortunately, between the melding of government and business, the way it has gone, it's been on steroids since 2020. It's just been ridiculous. Now, really, it's been on steroids for a lot longer than that. Ever since the American government decided that the Commerce Clause could basically be read to say, we can tell business what to do, people in business realize we can buy influence when we use the government now. And that's the big problem that I see behind a lot of this, is that it's that mixture of government and business. If business was just catering to what the needs and wants of the people were, they wouldn't be able to get away with some of the things that they've been getting away with over the past 2 to 3 years, especially. When I think about things like having healthcare insurance be made mandatory, one of the problems with that is now the government can tell you what to do with your body. So these mixtures are very unhealthy for us. And if we're not taking control of our lives, we're going to be left at the whim of people who are only seeking power and money, and we're not going to have the opportunity to live the life that we would like to live. One of the problems I often hear people talk about when it comes to a carnivore way of eating is the cost of eating this way. And it's getting more expensive. Inflation certainly isn't helping things. I've been waiting since Easter for Labor Day to come because I wanted to see the ribeyes go back on sale the way they've been doing them. They were $5.99 a pound for whole rib roasts the past couple of years. Then, back in Easter, they raised it up to $6.99 a pound. And then today, I just saw Publix's new ad for their Labor Day weekend sale, and they're not even offering it at anything close to that price. They're offering bone-in ribeyes for $10.99 a pound. Now, that's not a bad price compared to what most of the prices are right now, so I encourage you to take advantage of those specials while you can. If you're looking for some good fatty meat that's going to help you stay on a carnivore way of eating and get you that good fat to protein ratio that you're looking for. But still, that's rough on people. A lot of the problems that people are having are related to a lot of the financial issues. But if you can cut some of the other things out of your life, you'll find that you can afford to eat this way, even with the rising costs, because somehow I'm able to manage, and I am definitely not rich, but I'm able to manage it, and I'm able to try to help my wife get to it, because I've cut out things in my life like vaping, smoking, drinking. I don't spend money at gas stations anymore. Every time I stop to fill up, I don't buy a bag of chips and a Coke that are way overpriced. I'm not putting those things in my body that cause me to go need to see a doctor and have to get extra health care. The money I save in not going to see doctors is tremendous. About the only reason I go to see a doctor anymore is because I have so many people here on the channel that want to see my blood work, or they want to hear what the doctor says, or they want me to get some professional advice or something like that. And I don't find a need for it like I used to. And I love the freedom that has come from eating this way, which is why I named my channel Ferrigno Freedom. Actually, it's not really true. I didn't know what to call it, except that I loved freedom, and I knew that that was going to be at the root of this. But ultimately, it has become the mantra. If you want to have freedom, you can find freedom through a proper way of eating, through a way of eating that keeps you healthy. It frees you from the medical system. It frees you from big pharma. It frees you from big food. When you see those advertisements for all those foods that are out there and those drugs that they're talking about, you can just turn that off in your head, because you know that none of that stuff is going to do you any better than what you're doing right now to fix your health, to get healthy, and then to find the energy to get up and exercise, to get out and walk. I'm 50 years old and I feel better than I have in my entire life. And it's all thanks to a carnivore way of living. In my case, it's lion diet, which is a very specific type of carnivore diet. Some people might need the healing that comes from lion diet. Some people do very well on carnivore diet. I've got lots of carnivore conversation videos out there that you can watch where people have either done lion diet or a basic carnivore diet, and it has changed their lives. It has been truly miraculous to see what this way of eating has done for so many people. And I'm just thankful to be a part of this community right now on YouTube that is able to share this information. By the way, I'm also found on Rumble if you're interested in watching me on a different platform. I'm on Rumble and I'm also on Locals. And I've been working toward putting more stuff on Twitter, or X as it's now called. And we're going to start sharing this information in more areas, because I find the more people that find out that a carnivore way of eating can do so much good for you, the more people are going to get on board. And hopefully that's going to drive the market to where the demand for meat is going to cause more people to want to produce meat, but not only produce meat, but to produce it the right way. Because if there's money to be made, then people are going to try to make it. It might have a price issue right now, but eventually, as more people get involved in this way of eating, and I've talked to ranchers who do this, they are all behind what I'm trying to do, which is to encourage people to buy more from local ranchers, so that those local ranchers can realize, hey, I have a market other than the big four meat processors that I send my cattle to. I can actually sell my meat directly to the public. And if I'm growing it the right way, if I'm raising it healthy, if I'm not adulterating the meat with a bunch of medicines and pesticides and things like that, that I can provide a very good quality service. So I'm hoping that as more people find this way of eating to be healing and helping for their lives and helping their families, it's helping families and communities get stronger, healthier, happier, and it's also done wonders for my spiritual life. Because once I was able to get all that fog out of the way of all the problems that were caused by the food I was eating, I was better able to apply the things that I learned from studying scripture, the things that I gained from my prayer and meditation with the Lord, so that I'm better able to represent what I mean to be representing in my spiritual life. And it's all thanks to a carnivore way of eating. And in my case, Lion Diet has done wonders. That's why I only eat vegetarians. I don't eat carnivorous animals. I don't eat omnivores. I only eat animals that are designed to process and remove all of the plant toxins from the food, so that the food that I'm eating is as pure and natural as it can be. And it has just done wonders for me. And I'm sure it can do wonders for you. If you're struggling right now with some of the issues that we talked about in these videos that Russell Brand and Dr. Attia and the PBS crew here were talking about, then you might want to give it a look, because it could be the thing that saves your life and saves your family. Well, I hope so anyway. Stick around for a quick message from one of my affiliates. A lot of these companies that I talk about their products, the products are things that I use, and I sought out these companies to be an affiliate because I like their product. So I hope you'll take a look at it, because everything you buy from those companies helps support the channel and helps me to get the word out to more people. And be sure to stick around for my Patreon credits at the end. If you're interested in joining my Patreon, please look at the link in the description, because every little bit of help I can get is going to help me to help more people find the answers that they didn't even know they were looking for. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you guys next time. Vintage Tradition, the whole food of skincare. A little goes a long way. Tallow from 100% grass-fed cows. As opposed to using chemical-based cream like this that I usually use after I shave, at least all the ingredients in here are natural. This stuff really does seem to go a long way. I like it. It's definitely soothing to my skin. Vintage Tradition. Might want to give it a try. Vintage Tradition even makes products for the ladies. My wife loves the Pretty Girly Tallow Balm,
because it feels really good. And it smells really good.
I'll put a link in the description for this. Try it out and see what you think. I'll see you guys next time.
If we pay extra, could we maybe get some grease or fat?